of the SEC. And today is South Carolina, the Gamecocks. Craig?
Yeah, and I am going on vacation after this week, so we are knocking this out and finishing this. We have 5 schools left, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're going to knock this out this week, and then I think that's it, right? We're not going to go
Tennessee, Texas A&M, and
4?
Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Yeah, after this, we got 4.
Okay.
Well,
so
yeah,
5
5
total,
including South Carolina. So this ought to time out
totally
perfectly.
planned this out exactly like this.
Mm.
Totally just right on time, the way I thought it would go.
And the way that's why we didn't do some for like 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, just to time it out perfectly from day one. It's exactly what we intended.
It was my plan from the time we started this. End it on the last Friday right before your vacation.
Yeah, well, we're not going to, I think, delve into any others with all due respect, but this has been an exercise ongoing now for months, actually, like 4 months. So here we are, South Carolina, Final 5, South Carolina 9-4 a year ago. Shane Beamer entering now his 5th season, and with a superstar brimming with potential there in quarterback LaNorris Sellers, a big reason as to why people are so excited. And also the fact that, hey, they're fresh off of a 9-win season, went 5-3 in the SEC a year ago. There's a lot to like about South Carolina. And, yeah, they were actually in the playoff conversation there at the end and had at least some segment of the population, a lot of them probably residing in South Carolina, that were fighting for them to grab one of those final spots. But to be fair, they had at least a case. They had an argument that could be made and definitely momentum at the end of the year. So, again, not previewing the team necessarily, but looking at their schedule, here's what South Carolina has in 2025. And I think next year I'm grading graphics, and this one's fine. It's totally fine. It's nothing too crazy, nothing. It's got a lot of good info. It's got all the info on it, which I kind of like that. So you don't really have to go looking elsewhere for any of the details there. But, yeah, it's a fine graphic. And so here we go. Starting off on August the 31st, it'll be a big non-conference game and a neutral site as South Carolina will open play against the Virginia Tech Hokies. So SEC, ACC matchup right out of the gates with Virginia Tech and South Carolina. So a nice start there. Then the following week on September the 6th, and it's all Saturday games for South Carolina as well. All Saturday, all year long. But then it will be South Carolina State at home in week number 2. And then Saturday, September the 13th, sticking around at home, it'll be SEC play opening up there in week 3 as they have a unique schedule of 2 non-cons to start and 2 non-cons to finish, and then all SEC in between. And so South Carolina State followed by the SEC opener against Vanderbilt at home. Then Saturday, September the 20th, first road trip, true road trip of the year and first SEC road game. It'll be at Missouri. And then Saturday, September the 27th, back home, and they will play host to Kentucky before then heading into their first open week. So Va-Tech, South Carolina State and Vanderbilt at home, Missouri on the road, and Kentucky at home. I mean, this is, for who they're expecting to be, like, I think 5-0 is realistic. I think that's actually probably what you should hope for and expect if you are South Carolina. And anything more than like a loss, I think, would be a mighty disappointment in this first 5 games. So what do y'all think?
Yeah, I think that they should be all right. I mean, there's nothing to, really scare you off in the first one. I don't know how good Mizzou's going to be. They're breaking into quarterback. Kentucky is on, Coach Hot Seat watch. And Virginia Tech, and that's a neutral site game. I just think they're so head and shoulders above it. If they lose to Virginia Tech, that's a huge stumble right out of the gate.
Well, you have Vanderbilt with those sky-high expectations with Pavia, and you have South Carolina coming in with sky-high expectations. That'll be fun to see which one of them gets the win or the loss.
I mean, yeah, somebody's eaten an early loss in that game, so that will be notable. But I think South Carolina's positioned to where outside of like the top dogs, you feel like you should probably win every game. And so, yeah, there's toss-ups there. Really a shame how Virginia Tech's viewed nowadays. Mm-hmm. I mean, that should be a really big-ass game, and I'm sure it will be for those involved, but y'all are just kind of – and I don't mean like y'all personally or anything, but like kind of glossing over Va Tech, and that's not how we were for a very long time. But we'll see if the Hokies can give them some trouble. So definitely see the potential for a loss or two, but I feel pretty solid that you're like 4-1 or 5-0 if you're South Carolina. Now, second stretch of 3. They come back on October the 11th, and they return, and they will be on the road in Death Valley taking on LSU. So we'll see if that's a night game at that point or what, but no time announced just yet. But at LSU, then the following week, they will be home against Oklahoma. Little familiarity there with Beamer and OU. Mm-hmm. And then October the 25th, they stick it home for 2 straight weeks as they will play host to Alabama. So Oklahoma and Alabama back-to-back at home, then back on the road before their second bye week, and they will be at Ole Miss. And then that second bye week that I mentioned. So that stretch, chapter 2 of 3, at LSU, Oklahoma at home, Alabama at home, at Ole Miss.
If Oklahoma is improved, and if they are 2 to 3 wins better, that right there is as salty a 4-game stretch, and maybe 5 when we extend it, as you might have.
I think if you're 2-2 out of there, you should be thrilled. If you're 1-3, you're probably out of the playoff. But if you're 2-2,
wait a minute. If you're 1-3 and you're South Carolina, you're probably out of the playoff.
Last year they were 9-3 and almost in.
I know.
So
I know.
Because of they've got.
You do know what's coming up.
I do know what's coming up after that, but they have to save their third loss for that last stretch, right? If they're going to get, because again, the propaganda's already started. So
yeah.
So after that very interesting and very difficult stretch there, if you were to take these segments, and it's hard to do because everybody's is different, but if you were to take just a sampling of a four block piece of the schedule, I don't know how many would have, on paper at least, as tough of at LSU, Oklahoma, Bama at home, at Ole Miss. That's pretty damn salty. That's one of the tougher stretches we've seen with no breaks. But then they will get that break the second weekend of November, and then when they come back on November the 15th, they are on the road, Kyle Field against Texas A&M. Then November 22nd, they get out of SEC play entirely. Like A&M's their final SEC game. So again, 2 non-cons, all 8 of their SEC games, and then 2 non-cons to close out the year. So those 2 non-cons to close out the year, November 22nd, that SEC special, baby, although Coastal's been feisty in years past, so they're not exactly like, who do I want to piss off today? Furman.
Look, they just flipped theirs. Coastal should be where South Carolina State is normally. Yeah. So they flipped theirs. Yeah. Coastal's better than probably anybody else in that little SEC special weekend.
Right. SEC special would have been more like South Carolina State, but instead it's Coastal at home. And then the big rivalry game to close out the year, South Carolina and Clemson. And this one at home for the Gamecocks. So that is how they will finish things off. Already announced as an 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday, November the 29th. So I will give them credit. You can have an SEC special when you're playing Virginia Tech and Clemson in your non-conference.
Yep.
Respect for that. So I won't knock, the scheduling that some try to do, like in Bloomington nowadays or other places in years past. But yeah, South Carolina. Virginia Tech and Clemson, your bookends on this season. That's pretty good stuff. And then, road trips to Missouri and LSU and Ole Miss and to A&M, and then big home contests against the likes of Vandy. I'll put them in there now. Oklahoma, Bama, Clemson. And that Virginia Tech game, I mentioned neutral site. I don't think I mentioned where that is, did I? But
no.
It's at Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. So that is where they will open the season, is Atlanta for that neutral site game. So there you go. There's South Carolina's 2025 schedule. And I